Hey everyone, it's Victor Cahiel, and I wanted to go over how to use Logic's plugin manager in order to organize your plugins. There's a situation where we buy a lot of plugins, and often we don't need to see all of them. The plugin manager lets you the plugin manager lets you go in and organize all your different plugins by category, by company if you want. And I'm going to show you how to go about doing that in Logic Pro X. Okay, so let's start doing this by going over to Logic, go to Preferences, and then simply go to Plugin Manager. And that's going to bring up this window right here. So first of all, if you go to the top layer of this window right here, you'll see every plugin that you own. Now, if you own plugins that haven't been validated or for some reason or another do not work, then they will be not checked. Now, this can also be in the case of Universal Audio, plugins that you don't want to see show up in Logic, which is one of the great things here, is that you can organize that part of it. More on that in just a second. But here you can see that everything is checked that you own, and this is all of them. Now, if you want to then just look at the ones that you own from different companies, those are already organized for you here. You can see that you can go all the way up the line here, and by every company, it'll show you the different plugins that you use. Here are all the Apple ones, for example. Here is all the libraries for East West that I might own. This is so it's not just audio plugins we're talking about, but it's also the sample libraries that you use. And so on and so forth. You can see all of the different ones that you own. In the case of Universal Audio, as I spoke about before, let's go down to it. One of the big issues with Universal Audio is that whenever you go and you buy their product, they show you all of their plugins, even though you don't own them. And I'm sure that's because they want to sell more, and I get that, but it bugs the heck out of me. So if you go here to Universal Audio, you'll see all of the different Universal Audio plugins show up. All you have to do is simply uncheck the ones you don't own, keep the ones that you own checked, and then from now on, in Logic, once you go to that section of Universal Audio, only the ones that you own will show up. That is a huge hint right there. So that is the main interface that it shows you here. You can also do things in the interface, for example, like check on compatibility, and then it'll sort things that are not validated for some reason or another. Again, these are ones that I own, Universal Audio plugin suite, but I haven't bought the 88 RS. So it shows not validated because I don't own it. So that may be the case also for some other ones that just for whatever reason didn't validate until the plugin manager unchecks them so that they do not present a problem. So you can go back to organizing them by name. You can even create custom names for them. So let's just say that I own this wonderful auto-tune real-time access. I can go into here and I can give it its own name, and I can say best auto-tune. Package spell. There you go. And from now on, it's going to use that custom name for that specific plugin, which is pretty cool. All right, I'm going to get rid of that because I really don't need that name. So you can name them any way you want, and then go ahead and sort them by name. You can also give them a short name. If you are talking about, let's say, your favorite 1176, you could come down here, pick your 1176 that you like, give it a short name of 1176 FAV, and there you go. From now on, you're going to be able to organize it that way. So very easy to organize or look at this list here. And again, right now I'm looking at every single plugin. Here I can do it by company. But then the next section I'm going to show you is where I think some of the real magic in this program or this part of it really helps. And that is in these folders. When you buy Logic Pro, they've already added folders for different categories like amp pedals, delays, distortions, dynamics, things like compressors, EQs, imaging, metering. So these categories are already here, which is super handy because if you, instead of wanting to and seeing all of the stuff that you own, and let me give you an example of that. So I've opened up a session of Alchemy. If I want to add an effect, usually what you have to do is come down here and go all the way down to audio units here. And here it shows you all of the different stuff that you own. Now look at my list for my Waves plugin. That is just unruly. How the heck am I going to be able to pick out stuff that I use all the time from that? Or if I go to FabFilter, it makes it a little easier. But nevertheless, you have to do all of these steps. So what if I just want to have all of my favorite Dynamics processors be in one category? Well, I can just go here, and these are all the Apple ones, and I added all the ones for Universal Audio. So let me go back to the plugin manager and show you how easy it is to add those to existing categories or create your own folder categories that will show up here as different categories. If you see, here's my Waves favorites, here's my Universal Audios that I own. Much easier than having to do it the other way. So let's go back and look at that. Okay, so here I was, and I was showing you how in my case, I added these 4 Universal Audio 1176s to Dynamics. So let me show you how I went about doing that. I'm going to go back to Show All, and then I'm going to go, let's say, to FabFilter, which is where my other favorite Dynamics processor is, and that is going to be Pro C2. All I have to do is take this and simply drag it to Dynamics. I can take the Pro R and I can add that to my reverbs. I can take my my 2 Pro Q2 and Pro Q3, I'm actually going to only do 3, and add it to my EQs. So you can see how easy it is to add categories from all of your plugins by simply dragging and dropping things that you really like. For example, I have a really favorite WLM, which is a metering application that I use all the time. And so I can take the WLM meter in stereo and simply add it to metering. I can also take the WLM Plus in stereo and add it to metering. Now in my metering category, not only do I have the Apple default ones, but I also have the ones that I added. So it's an easy thing to do to add these to existing categories, but I can even create a new category if I want. Let's say I want to make a category that's called orchestral. Now, for my orchestral music, I always end up using specific reverbs, for example. So I always either use my FabFilter, which I'll show you in a second, my reverb there, or I use my TC Electronics VSS3. And again, I'm going for a very specific thing for orchestral. And those are the 2 big things that I always end up using in orchestral. I don't really use a bunch of compressors, but let's say you had other categories for rock guitars or for R&B music. You might have specific sets of instruments, not just plugins, but a specific Rhodes or a specific organ and specific compressors that you use. You can organize them that way. You can also make a category, for example, called drums, and on there, put all your favorite compressors and all of your different dynamic things that you want to use for drums. If you want to remove a folder, you just remove it here. So again, you can go very, very easily and see everything that you have in your plugin manager, and you can manage everything so that in Logic itself, it's so much easier to take a look at, so much easier to select from your favorite plugins. I hope that this has been helpful to you. You have a great day.